a lot of us step into the market for purchasing and renting apartments, and this is especially the case in the Kingston and St. Andrew area. We tend to assume that these apartments are being built with morality and ethics in mind, and we forget to realize or refuse to realize that it's predominantly profit based, meaning more of the times than not, these units are being built with the thought of profits being at the forefront. And that's certainly not a negative thing. If you're putting in effort and time and money, then there should be a return on that investment. But it's important that we're conscious of this, because as much as we can look at things from the perspective of the people purchasing or the perspective of the people buying and say, well, these prices are too high, as much as it might be difficult, we have to put ourselves in the shoes of these developers and consider whether or not we would decide to move forward with these projects and build these apartments without first considering its profitability. And the answer is that chances are you would also try to maximize on profitability as well. What we're going to cover in this video is some of the reasons as to why these apartments are higher priced, especially in recent times. And I'm going to base our discussion on apartments in the Kingston and St. Andrew area, because we do a lot of valuations on apartments in Kingston, and that's what I'm more familiar with. The first reason is that majority of the time when these apartments are being built, especially the much more large scale apartments, developers are very conscious of the locations they're choosing to build these apartments. So for example, a lot of us have aspirations to build our own houses and apartments. As a developer, where do you think would be the best place to start building? In the city area, right? Or in an area where there's a lot of activities and supermarkets and Devon House right around the corner? That would be ideal, right? So this is a major reason for the higher prices, and we discussed this before. The prices for real estate in city areas or central areas tend to be higher because of the demand. What do I mean by that? If we have two houses and everybody starts to rush towards buying only one of the houses, then what will happen is that the price of that house in high demand will start to go up. And that's the case for properties in the central areas. More people want to live there for obvious reasons. It's more lively, it's more exciting, it's more convenient, so the prices are higher. So as the developer, you're going to try to build in the areas that people want to live the most, and subsequently the prices will reflect that level of demand. The second reason is the aesthetics of some of these apartments. Now, because of the fact that we offer valuation services, we know from experience that the aesthetics of a property isn't necessarily a predominant factor when it comes to the value of the property. It's important and it's definitely considered, but any surveyor will tell you that beyond a certain point, improving the aesthetics has very little effect on the property's value. So if it's not a major factor, why did I mention aesthetics as being one of the reasons for higher prices? Aesthetics, or how nice the property looks, has the ability to increase the property's demand. What happens when demand increases? Prices also increase. So as much as aesthetics isn't a predominant factor in regards to value, it can sometimes affect the selling price of the property. So for example, we might step in and do a valuation on a property, and let's say the final report indicated that it's valued at approximately 25 million. That 25 million would be the market value. Now that doesn't mean that the property has to be sold at market value. This is where the aesthetics and demand starts to play a role. If people are attracted to the aesthetics of the property and demand goes up as a result of that, then the property might sell for 28 million or 30 million. So aesthetics can affect the selling price. The third major reason as to why some of these apartments are being sold for higher prices or have higher rental prices has to do with some of the facilities that are within some of these complexes. And we can discuss the construction side of things in another video, because I have my own thoughts on how some of these complexes are being built. But we cannot deny the fact that these apartments are flooded with facilities. Sometimes they might have a gym or a pool area or play areas. The other day we did a valuation on one that was under construction, and it had a rooftop area with the gym and a sitting area and a bar. So what I'm highlighting is that having access to some of these facilities would add to the value, as well as it would add to the prices. In conclusion, I want to say this: as much as we might feel hard done by some of these prices, because it's difficult to find cheaper properties these days, if you want to call it that, as much as we might immediately want to lean towards being resentful, it's difficult, but understanding the basis behind it and where it's coming from is important. Having an understanding of the current economic climate is also important. I know that a lot of people are in very difficult situations, and so it might be difficult to wrap your head around some of these prices. Owning real estate or having a place to stay is fundamental for all of us. So as much as it might be difficult to understand or accept, I hope I explained everything in a way that you can understand. And I wish everybody the best on their journey.